Hi guys, this is Zangiefsgym. Timothy here. So we are going through this playlist here of how to fight Menat with Zangief, and today's video is 0.6. I will be covering Menat's standing light kick. I will be covering all about that one attack. I will talk about how the frame date on it, and we will talk about a lot of ways to counter it, and there is a lot of ways to counter it because it doesn't have very good range. So we're going to talk about that today, just kind of cover that, and you guys can take away some golden nuggets to add to your repertoire as you fight Menat. Okay, so this one shouldn't be terribly long, I don't think, because it's just one attack and there's no crystal ball or without crystal ball variation in this move. It's literally just a standing light kick. So let's just talk a little bit of the frame data before we begin. The startup on the standing light kick for Menat is only 3 frames. It's her, I mentioned this before I believe, but this is her fastest startup move. She doesn't have any other 3s I know of. I'm just kind of browsing. I don't see anything that catches my eye. So this is her fastest normal, and this is her standing light kick. So 3 frame startup, and she's positive whether you block it or whether she hits you. She's positive frames. So if you block it, she's +1 on frames, and if she hits you with it, she's +4 on frames. So she could do it again. The only thing about this attack is you'll find it doesn't have any range, so I don't see a lot of Menat players doing this. Maybe just a quick, just if you maybe you're like on top of her or something and she's just trying to push you back a little bit. I can see her using that maybe in that one situation only, just because it's so quick on the startup. Well, okay, so let's turn it on. You guys can see what the attack looks like, and then we'll talk about it. All right, playback 1. So that's it. There's your standing light kick. The range is like 0. So this is not going to be a good option for Menat. I mean, I have to be on top of her. It does push me back a little bit, and it does only have 3 frames startup, so it's very, very quick. But like I said, I think it's something that she's going to do when I'm on top of her, and that's it, because I have to be on top of her for it to work. So counter, how do we counter that? Well, this is a fun one to talk about. You can counter this with anything. Standing light punch, standing light kick, medium punch, medium kick. We could do the knee hammer even. Only thing I noticed there is that, like, if you don't do the timing right, she can nick you with that, and you won't get it. So that's kind of funny. But most every normal will hit her. With her doing that light kick. So it's not very good on the range. I don't think it'll be very good against Zangief. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about this too much, guys. We can hit her with anything. In fact, I think she would be fair to say that she's going to be giving us the advantage if she chooses to do that move, because I have not found one attack that can't hit her. And just before I recorded this video, I looked at something, but this is pretty cool. You can actually do the light SPD without even touching her. You can just walk up to her and grab her, because the range is so bad on that light light kick, and we can do the light SPD here. I mean, that's pretty funny. So I don't think Menat's going to be doing this very much. If you're a Menat player and you happen to be spying on this video, don't do that light kick, because you're going to get yourself butchered. Okay, so that's pretty funny. So yeah, there's not a lot to say about that. There's, like I said, I think this video is going to be pretty fast. Even for the long version, but all the normal Zangief has is going to counter that. Now, I did set up her, just for fun, I did set up her her guard recovery action, so that way when we attack her, she will counter hit us with that standing light kick. Okay, so there you go, you see it happening. She'll counter hit us with that. She'll try to, but look what happens if she does, right? We can SPD her. Of course, we just talked about the fact that we can SPD her even if she is doing that kick repeatedly. But let's say we actually are right on top of her and we wanted to do the strong, we wanted to do the hard punch SPD. Well, let's look at the frames. First of all, the frame advantage would say yes, we could. We have enough frames to do it. Because the standing light kick is 3 frames, right? So that would be our SPD. But if we, if we specifically do the standing light punch, and she blocks it, we have 3 frames of advantage over her for blocking that. So we have 3 frames from Zangief's standing light punch, but then we also have the 3 frames that she would need to do the standing light kick. So we actually have 6 frames to work with, so there's just enough time to sneak in an SPD. So we don't have to be outside of the range of her kick. We can actually be right on top of her, and that means we can do the most desirable SPD, which is a hard punch, because as I talked about before, but since this video is not going to be super long anyway, I'll go ahead and talk about it now. I'll elaborate on Zangief a little bit. The hard punch SPD lands her closer to you when you land it. So let's just look at that. Look at the distance when she lands, right? She's pretty much right. She's pretty much right near me. That's a nice range. Now if we do the light SPD, as I talked about before, even though it scoops up nicely, look at the distance we have now. See how we're quite a bit further apart. That's why we want to do the hard punch SPD whenever we have opportunity, which is great. But the only difficult part is actually actually catching her, scooping her up in it, because the hard punch SPD is actually, like, you have to be right on top of her. If I go even like right here and try to do the hard punch, see how he just missed. So you can't, oops. Okay, I moved in closer. I did get it that time because I moved in closer, but if you're out here, he won't get it. But same distance, light SPD, he will get it. So if she's kicking, you can stand out here and just light SPD her, and you'll catch her every time. She won't be able to hit you. Now, of course, realistically, we know she's not going to rely upon that one kick, right? So I always like to bring that point up in every video, because if you've ever fought her before, it can be very difficult. I like to put her in that category along the lines of, she's a defensive character, so I see her kind of like Sim, or maybe Fang, or Fong, however you want to pronounce his name. They're kind of all in that group. Those 3 I would put in that one group. They're very defensive, and they have a lot of ranged attacks with a lot of active frames. So she's only going to probably do this kick if we're standing on top of her, and she wants the quickest startup. 3 frame startup is really good, but anybody that's playing Menat that has any experience at all, that light kick is literally only viable if I'm on top of her like this, because then it actually will kick me and give her a chance to react and respond. Because as we talked about, if she does kick us with that, however, here's something to notice. If she does kick us with that, she is positive 4 frames. So that gives her a chance to throw out, let's look at it for example. She could then alternate. Here we go. This will be kind of fun to talk about. She could alternate into the standing light punch, because that's only 4 frame startup, and she just gained 4 frames off of the standing light kick. So, just to get to the details, get to the science of this, she could hit us with that and then turn around and do the light punch. So I don't have this recorded, but you know what? I just thought about that. So maybe I will record it in slot 2. She'll do the light kick and then the punch. Okay, we'll do it again so it's a little bit quicker. I want this to be like, as quick as possible. Okay, let's restart. I've got it turned on. Okay, see how quick that is. So, whoops, no, I want to do an interval here so we have a second to actually, think here for a second. Okay, so say we were right there, and now the only problem with this is we can't really, so let's do a delay. You guys kind of see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to pretend like, say we were standing next to her and she did the kick and then she did the punch after it, but I don't want it so immediate that we can't actually get in there. So let's put a, actually, yeah, we don't want to do, okay, kick, and then that, something like that, maybe a little delay. I'm trying to think, actually, we probably want delay in the beginning, right, because we want to assume that we had a chance to actually approach her, and then she kicked us back. Okay, so let's, instead of button input, I'm going to do automatic. That way it immediately starts timing. It immediately starts recording as soon as we leave the screen. That way we can generate space. Okay. See? So now we play that back. What's going to happen is there's going to be delay. And then... Okay. Okay, perfect. So that's what we want. So now let's see if this is a possibility. So yeah, she could do that. Now look what happened, right? That was pretty good. When she combined them, the light kick with the follow-up light punch. Remember, she has the frame advantage. She can do that. If she hits us with the light kick, she gains 4 frames. And actually, I would say it's possible that she will kick us if she, now this is, again, best possible scenario is that we're actually approaching her and we're close enough that she can actually hit that light kick and follow up with the light punch. She can't do that if, we're not close enough. But just looking at the frame data, this is cool to look at, right? This is kind of cool to look at because we like to look at the possibility of these attacks, because this is a real fight. Remember, when thick comes to thin, push comes to shove, Menat's going to do what she has to try to compensate for for us gaining the advantage over her. If we actually get in on her, she's going to do what she has to. So let's say she does a standing light kick and follow up light punch. The standing light kick, as we mentioned, does, if we don't block it, which we might not, because if we're on top of her, we might be getting ready to put our input for our command grab. Let's say she kicks us before we get off the SPD. She gains 4 frames of advantage on hit for the standing light kick. So 4 frames advantage, standing light punch with the crystal ball. Oh, that was my bad. I said 4 earlier. That was without the crystal ball. Okay, so I'm wrong there. It's 5. She needs 5 frames to do the standing light punch with the crystal ball. But she would have it, right? Because she gains 4 frames from hitting us with the light kick. So she only needs to gain 1 frame in order to do the standing light punch with the crystal ball. But she would have it because look at what happens. Look at the kickback on that light kick. Boom. See how it pushes us back a little bit? Now let's say I tried to move in. Okay? Technically, she could probably do that. Now we, right. So say I try to do the light punch. I can't get a light punch in there. Because she's positive 4 frames on that standing light kick. There's not enough time to throw out any of Zangief's moves because all of his startups are at least 4. But technically, she's only giving there's only a 1 frame missing in between. So there's only 1 frame that we have to work with. So the only thing that comes to my mind is for our point of view, trying to be Zangief fighting Menat, we could do an iron muscle skill. We could do the iron muscle flex, right? So, boom. Yep. See, I could do it in between her kick and her punch, and then we could. Yep. See, then we could do. All right, let's try to get this. Actually, let's restart it because. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna iron muscle. After she kicks me, I'm gonna iron muscle because I have just that 1 frame to work with, and that's all iron muscle needs. And then after she hits with the crystal ball, I'm gonna release the iron muscle, hit her, and then try to follow up with a light SPD. This is a cool counter. Let's see if we can do this. This is kind of fun to look at. Oh, okay. I just gotta get it right though. Beautiful. Okay, now I just gotta. The trick is not to. Trick is to do it in between. Let's say I'm moving towards her, right? Oh, no, no, I didn't want to do that. Okay. There we go. Yeah, basically like that. So, you know, I know it's coming, so I can do that anyway. But let's say I preemptively did it. Either way, you know, there's that one frame to work with. Ah, see, I got it there, but I'm not very good at following up with the SPD. It takes a little practice. Okay, there it is. There it is. So I was able to do that. And if I do, see, that's cool. If I land the iron muscle in between her two attacks, the iron muscle acts as an would it act as like an on block? But see, she's hitting us with the light punch, but she has to recover from that before she can. Now, technically, if we block it, she has 3 frame advantage, and if we get hit, she has 5 frame advantage. But because we're iron muscling it, she doesn't even get a chance to finish it because we're not really blocking it technically, or actually V-skilling it. So that's a whole separate thing, right? Okay, I actually can't seem to. I'm used to be nervous because I know it's coming. Oh, I get this timing right, but yeah. So anyway, I suppose she could probably follow that up with something. Let's see. Trying to get that timing right. I'm gonna preemptively hold it because I kind of know, you know. See if I can preemptively hold it. Well, that's not fair though. I want to. Okay, but I might, you know, I'm not able to kind of get the follow through there. But that's all right. Either way, that's definitely a possibility. We could iron muscle in between those two because it only has a 1 frame startup on for the iron muscle. So let's see. Yeah, let's look at the frame data. Going to Zangief here. Iron muscle gains 2 hits of armor on frame 1. So, you know, it says 31 frame startup, but we know it's instantaneous. That's not 31 frames there. What it means is, you know, 31 frames is like how long the whole thing can, you know, be like full effect. I'm pretty sure that's like the full effect of the whole move, like holding it, and then finally being done with it is like 31 frames. I believe that's not 31 frames just doing that. Either way, we get armor on frame 1, so there's 1 frame in between. We talked about this. If she does the standing light kick and she hits us, she has 4 frames of advantage, but it takes 5 to do the light punch with the crystal ball. So we've got 1 frame in between there to trigger the iron muscle, which on frame 1 it gives us 2 hits of armor, which means we could get hit by that crystal ball both ways and still be in the iron muscle. It would not break the iron muscle, and we'd have armor the whole time. Then we could release it into the SPD. The tricky part there was finding was to actually time that just right so we get the iron muscle in between the 2 attacks. I think what's more likely to happen is we end up iron muscling both of them and then just releasing it and SPDing her. That's a possibility. And actually, that would probably be our best bet anyway. You know, so takeaway here is basically, though she does a standing light kick, we can do any of our normals to counter it, and we can SPD her with the light punch outside of her kicking range. So, you know, if you don't have any more time, there you go. There's a golden nugget right there. You can take that with you. The standing light kick is very easy for Zangief to deal with. Very, very easy to deal with. You can do anything pretty much, and it's going to work. Any of his normals, even crouching light kick. You saw that earlier. That also hit her before her kick would hit us, because she has no range on it. Now. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. I'm just, you know, now I'm just playing around and looking at stuff, basically. Which, you know, I've been looking at the light kick. If she does the light kick and hits us, and then she follows it up with the standing light punch, as I just talked about, she can do that because of the pushback from the light kick. The light kick knocks us back just a little bit, and then by then she's already throwing the crystal ball and hitting us with that light punch, which will knock us out here after she hits us with both things. So let's look at that again. And this is kind of fun to look at, just to mess around with. Kicks us, punch us. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Now turn her off so we can look at this. Look at that range. So we were right next to her, and now she's putting this little gap between us. And it's likely that a player may take that strategy. So just, you know, that's why frame data with range and distance is always, you always have to combine them together, because range, as soon as you start getting range on your opponent, you also start gaining your frames back, because it takes movement to close the gap. And, you know, especially with Zangief, you know, definitely going to probably take more frames as opposed to less. So in our case, you know, we can counter, like I said, we can counter that light kick very easily, but just be aware that if we are on top of her and she does throw out the light kick, she can link that into her standing light punch, because the one frame in between is not quick enough for us to react. So the best bet would be to iron muscle both of them, release it after you get hit with a crystal ball, release it, punch her, and SPD her. So let's go ahead now that I threw that out there, let's go ahead and try that. You know, and again, guys, this is all for fun. You've pretty much got everything you need already. So if you don't have any more time, you don't need to watch any more of this video, because I'm just pretty much messing around at this point and looking at some different options that she could combine with the light kick. But again, the light kick on itself, all in of itself, is not very it's not very good from Menat's point of view, and it's going to be very easy from Zangief's point of view to counter that. Any of the normals will easily deal with it. So okay, so you can move on if you don't have much time. If you want to hang around and keep watching more, great, because I'm just gonna mess around some more. Okay, so let's iron muscle this. Both of them hit her SPD. Now I don't have her set up to do anything else, so of course, you know, I know what she's gonna do here because we got training mode. But it's just so fun to, you know, look at the possibilities of this. You know, I know she's going to do it about 2.4, so now. And if I get a little, if I release it too early, so I just got to wait for it. Okay, hit her, light SPD. Now what does it say? Sorry, I wanted to look at the frames on that. If it said, arm muscle on hit is positive 2 frames. So I wonder, yeah, that would be like a counter hit if we hit her though, right in between here. Let's see if we can get the counter hit. Oh, she actually got the counter hit on us. She's getting the counter hit on. I'm wondering if we got the, if I hit it just right before she got the crystal ball back. Actually, no, because it's her attack, right? So we can't. Yeah, technically. Okay, so the only takeaway there is, oh, we could get it. So right, so if we iron muscle and release it, we're positive 2 frames, right? We have a 2 frame advantage on her when we hit her with the iron muscle flex. So that would mean we would need 3 more frames to work with to get the light SPD, or any SPD, but I'm assuming you might have to do the light after you knock her back away from you, because you're not close enough anymore, right? If you hit her with the iron muscle, you're no longer close enough to grab her with a hard punch. So, you know, we would have the 5 frames actually to work with, because the standing light kick is her quickest startup move, and that's 3 frames. Right, so what would be necessary here is to do, yeah, I wish we could get her to do this, but anyway, I don't want to like get way off. But if she does the light kick, you know, we iron muscle through it, right, and the light kick and the crystal ball light, the standing light punch to be exact, standing light kick, standing light punch. If we iron muscle both of them, release it, punch her in the gut, and then do the light SPD, we only need 5 frames to do that light SPD. But she needs, you know, it would be a tie. If she did the standing light kick, it would be a tie. But what I'm thinking is because we're knocking her back, she can't reach us with that light kick. So we would be able to land the SPD. And I think that's why when we land the iron muscle flex, when we actually release it and hit our opponent, it's really hard for our opponent to counter hit us before we can SBD her. Just because of most normals have a startup of at least 3 minimum, and the range is usually terrible with the 3 frame startups. Just as Menats light kick, we've seen how terrible that range is. Yeah, so actually now let's just do the iron muscle. Let's not actually SBD here. I want to see how far it hits her. Okay, now turn her off and just look at the blank screen for a second. Okay, she's not really that far away, but without moving at all, let's turn her light kick on and let's see if she can do that. Okay, so she could hit us with that. So that would mean that she could hit us with that that standing light kick. Now that's if she immediately did that. Yeah, so I guess she could counter us. So I guess there's a possibility we might not get the light SPD. So what would be a possible counter? If she does a standing light kick and a standing light punch, and you know, we iron muscle it, right? We iron muscle it, we hit her with the iron muscle, we've got 2 frame advantage. We could always just do the standing light punch, right? Because we have plenty of time to do that. And that's only 4 frame. No, that's 5 frame startup. Okay, so maybe we couldn't do that. We could do the crouching light punch, but just thinking for a second here. Say we do the standing light punch. We could reach her, so we could actually back off a little bit. Okay, let's. Oh no, I got her doing the wrong thing. Okay, let's try this. Okay, now I just hit her with the iron muscle. Let's turn this off for a second and let's look at the spacing. Okay, we're right here. Now we would have, if we hit her with that iron muscle like I just did, we would be positive 2 frames. Now we need 5 frames to do the standing light punch. So technically we'd have 2 frames advantage, and then she would go to do the standing light kick, and it would be a tie. We would run the race, and it would be a tie because we'd have 5 frame startup on the light punch, and she would have a 3 frame startup on the light kick, but she would be -2 to start with, so it would be a total of 5. So we would cross the finish line at the same time. But what if we release that iron muscle and then just walked back a little bit as we did that light punch? Because we have more range than she does. That light punch has good range, whereas her light kick range is very terrible. And the light kick, by the way, is the only thing she's going to be able to do. So we could walk back a little bit and do that. So let's put the whole thing together. I'm going to iron muscle block, and then I'm going to after I release the iron muscle, I'm going to walk back just a little bit and do the standing light punch. Let's see that playback and see what happens. Ah, nope, I did. Now, I think about this. How would I get her to do? I would have to have her follow up with the light kick. Okay, so I would have to record all 3. Okay. Now I got it recorded. Let's see her. Let's see her do that. Okay, so, and then she's gonna stop, right? Yep. She would if I put delay in there. Okay. Yeah, let's do the button input style. I'll put the delay at the end. Okay. Okay, let's do this again. Oops. Okay. Oh yeah, I want delay. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Okay. Okay. There's a delay built into it. So that way, when she does this, and she has delay built in, we can actually, you know, experiment a little bit. Okay. Okay. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Before she gets that last kick. Oops. Oh, she's not doing it. How come she's doing the coordinating? Oh, now I'm mixed up. Sorry, guys. Alright. Let's try this again. Oh, she keeps doing the kick for some reason. That's because I'm too close. Okay, well, let's just do it right from the start. Oh, she just keeps doing the kick. It must... I don't know why it does that. Oh well. Anyway, I'm just messing around now. But you see what happens though if we do the arm muscle flex in here and release it. There's possibility you can do the standing light punch would be a tie with her standing light kick. So you could definitely, you could definitely start walking backwards and do that. I would think that you might not want to do that. So I would think a more simple counter would be just to start doing some crouching light punches. It'd be a little safer. Oh, another option actually would be cool. Would be to start charging the standing hard punch, the standing strong. Right? We can charge that because we gain upper body armor on frame 3. So even though we're okay, so we hit her with the arm muscle, right? She's negative too. If we charge that hard punch immediately, at 3rd frame, we already have upper body armor. So, even if she throws out that light kick and hits us, it hits us actually almost on the upper body part. But either way, if she decides to counterattack differently, like say she decides to throw another light punch, she'd have time to do it, but we would have that upper body armor, right? So it wouldn't matter if she did do that. We would be, and I kind of like the idea of that counter better. Whoops. I don't want to do that because I like something solid that we know is going to work. Okay, there we go. And see, and then just go into that. Now I don't have her, basically I don't have her countering anything, so. Normally I'd set it up so she would do and try to do another attack, but I don't have that set up. But you can see though, guys, that would be a good possibility. After you arm muscle her, 2 hits, release it, punch her. So that's if she does the light kick into the light punch. But that was just kind of cool, wasn't it? Just to look at the idea of some of her possibilities, like based upon frame datas, what could she do with that standing light kick? What if she did hit us with it, what would she be able to do? And so we see that based on frames and distance, it's possible she could do the standing light kick and then throw out the standing light punch crystal ball. And even though she has 1 frame gap to fill, she would get that because of the range. Technically we couldn't do like an SPD or anything. There just wouldn't be enough time in between. We couldn't get off a hit. The only thing we could do was the 1 frame in between, we could arm muscle. So that's what I was saying earlier. So that's a good way to counter. You can just arm muscle in between, assuming she was doing those 2 tacks but sequentially. That was just for fun to look at that. I'm sure, she probably isn't going to do that exactly. But just, it's just kind of fun to look at the possibilities. All right, well, I think that's it, guys, for this one. I don't really, like I said, there wasn't a lot to really cover on this one. I was just kind of going on and having fun looking at the possibilities of what a Menat player might throw into the mix. No Menat player just gets up there and throws a one button attack and then stands there. I mean, of course they're going to do something else besides that. So it's kind of fun to just look at her possibilities based on frames, what she could do, without even looking at her combos, just what she could possibly do. So the standing light kick, she can throw the standing light punch with the crystal ball, or without it is another possibility, because that's only 4 frame startup and she would have no gap to fill. But even with the one frame in between, we see that she can comfortably do that. And we also, on Zangief's side, we can comfortably arm muscle in between, because that's armor on frame 1. So 1 frame, that's all we need. We got the armor, the crystal ball goes through us and does nothing. We release it and hit her, and then do the standing strong, standing hard punch, and we can press the advantage. Again, that upper body armor, it makes that move so beautiful, because if she does turn back around and do another standing light punch or standing medium punch, we're going to be able to handle it. It's just going to go through us. We have the armor. We're going to get the hit. She's going to get knocked down. Okay. So cool. Alright guys, that'll do it for this video. I'm just going to let SPD. Boop. SPD, thanks for watching guys. Take care.